Hey everyone, I want to spend a little bit of time just going through like how CloudOlive and those who buy their Microsoft and all the other products through Pax8 as a distributor. Because one of the questions we often get is, oh, we've got the Pax8 sync turned on. How can CloudOlive possibly help? And I'd say that Pax8, from our experience, and we see all the different distributors out there, there must be 30 or 40 plus now that we interface with. And I'd say that they're definitely best in class, especially around the Microsoft side of the business. Um, and where and how we fit in for probably about a third of our partners now are buying something from Pax8 is if you ever wanted to sanity check that what you are getting billed for is exactly what's going out the door, and also every single line item is accurate and there's no misses, no human error, no glitches that can happen just in general informatics. CloudOlive can sit in the middle and give you that information extremely quickly. Um, so I just want to share a little bit of insight. So this is the layout that you're probably pretty familiar with regards to Pax8. And the cool thing is, like if you buy Microsoft and other things, it's all consolidated in one view, which is a really, really big plus and pretty rare across the different distributors. And from our perspective, it gives some useful information that we then want to leverage. So things like obviously company name, the start and end of the period accounts, the term that you're on, and also over here, the commitment term, or useful information that we can optionally bring in and then leverage in very specific ways. Some other things that are useful here is to know whether a line item is prorated or not, and then how you can make sure that the pro rates are getting captured as you would expect. Um, so this is the file that comes down on or around the 5th or 6th of each month. And generally it's current month plus pro rates from the prior month when it comes to Microsoft. And then a lot of the other services that you may be purchasing are in arrears based billing. Okay, so the different start and end periods here. Don't need to worry too much about that, but it can be important if you're looking to truly reconcile things down to when you're like technically buying them or getting them invoiced. Um, we can do two things. We can begin breaking apart. So inside CloudOlive, we might have Exclaimer or Acronis or other vendors that you're Sentinel One, other vendors that you're buying that are currently consolidated on one invoice. You may choose to break them apart. You may choose to leverage the sync for things like Microsoft, and then you may want tighter controls, or you may want other like a single process even to manage all your suppliers, which CloudOlive can do really, really well. So we could optionally, right, either have Pax8 as one, or you could have Pax8 Sentinel, Pax8 Acronis, Pax8 other. We're seeing that broken apart more and more and more to offer greater controls. So this data, okay, so we bring this in, we ingest this data on or around the 5th or 6th of the month. And when we click in here now, we've looked to make sense of like all the relevant information that is inside of that file. We then take properties that make sense and then leverage them in clever ways. So we're just very high level, okay. Total file amount or total cost that we've imported here is just shy of $30,000, and there's 38 unique subscriptions we're getting billed for. Okay, we want to make sure that every single one of those 38 in our instance has a home. Our PSA for this case is going to be Autotask, but it could be ConnectWise, and we got Halo integration coming tail end of 2025. But you can see here, right, there is no single field within Pax8 that gives you all of this information. So we've chosen to merge and blend multiple properties together in order to showcase, like you want to know your monthly and yearly commits because they should ideally go to its own unique service inside of the PSA. Okay. Very, very simply here. So we bring in the vendor information and then we pair it back to the Autotask account or ConnectWise account, the contract or agreement, and then the additional service here. And the way that we do that, very simply, the system tries to auto map it, of course, but if it doesn't, then we can just pair it against an agreement, pair it against an addition or a service, and then submit. That's now its home. So CloudOlive now remembers this month on month on month on month. And the only time that it will not show here is if it's actually dropped off from the prior month. So this is just saying, hey, last month Pax invoiced us for this. It's not here now, FYI. We can scroll down here and see, which is really powerful. Like we can actually then see last month. So what we got here, so it was cancel. We can very quickly see, oh yeah, there's that line. Oh yeah, we left a note for ourselves, should drop off next month. All good. It's all in lockstep. It's real tight controls that the team doesn't need to be sort of visiting many, many places. It's happening as you're expecting it. And that little comment is something that you can leave on a line by line item basis. So a good example here is, for whatever reason, you might have a minimum billing or a number that's always going to be off. Hey, we committed to 50 with Microsoft. Whoops, our mistake. We're always going to be off for a little while. We don't want to ever update that. You wouldn't be able to essentially have the sync on maybe for that for a period of time. You need to track it. It's a big discrepancy. Do you know what? Let's just keep an eye on it. I know the renewal's coming up soon. Let's just pass on this for now. And what's that? What happens there when we pass on something? You'll notice this number up here just go smaller and smaller, and it's because we've just dealt with this line. We'll come back around. We'll work on it next month. Okay, passing it for now. Come back next month. But what we really care about is, I want to see where there's differences. I want to understand where there's possible billing risk in this as a supplier. Okay, so this toggle here will just very quickly indicate every single thing that CloudOlive isn't happy about. Okay, and that includes line items that haven't been mapped yet, such as this. Yep, I remember this thing, although it's on the invoice, we have already dealt with that. We've made a note. We'll leave that there. It's now no longer in this issue. That number will have gone from 6 down to 5. So now out of the 38 lines, we've got 5 things to work on. If I sort this column here, just the ones, boom, it leaves me with the 4 line items that are, if we follow what CloudOlive is suggesting, there's an extra $701 of additional uplift in revenue that we can capture. So we're buying 20, we're only selling 1. Okay, we need to increase that by 19. And what it's telling us here, okay, is before you even take this action, okay, we want to propose to you, hey, if you do this, this is the intended outcome. Does it look good to you? So we make 16% margin on Microsoft. At present, based on the total cost from the supplier against our total sell, so just a field coming from our PSA, it's not looking good, right? We're losing a ton of cash here. If we were to update this, if we were to fix this and make the count within Auditask service to be 20, this is going to be our margin. So I was like, yeah, cool. That makes sense, right? We should be on 16%. So if we were to fix that, then it's going to true itself up. Same for this one, buying 15, selling 10, off by 5. Same for this one as well. So really smooth, really easy to then see. Whereas you come down here and you're like, hang on a sec, that's not right. So if we fix this, we're still massively in the negative. And the other sort of icon that we see here is that the vendor unit cost doesn't match what's in Auditask at the service level. So across this entire vendor, show me the things that are off. Show me the things that are off that we might need to address. And it literally leaves us with this one here. If we've told CloudOlive, right, we know that this vendor should be at a specific percentage, or even, do you know what, this customer alone, maybe we build them at 20%. And why is this now off? By clicking this here, it gives you a couple of options. So one is the vendor unit cost is this. The service is saying that. We do want to update that actually. Let's keep that true and reflective of what's going on, which is a really hard thing to do at scale with regards to these PSAs. And the next one is like, hang on a sec, we're selling this for $5. We should be making 20% on it. Based on the new costs we're about to add in, let's fix both of those in the same go. So I'll just sync them across now. Just see that. Yep, been successful. Happy days. Now we've got this thing here, okay? And one of the other things that, again, leveraging the useful data that's in that file, whether it's a prorate, full month, like the CloudOlive is there to analyze all of that information and extract exactly what you care about and alert you in the right way. So one of the things we can see here is this is a prorate. So we can actually do a search for prorate as well across here and go, across this vendor, here are the 3 things that have moved in the month. Prorate, here are the dates, here's what it's moved by. And if we see this one here, so on the 27th of June, this thing increased by 1, but inside our CRM, inside our PSA, it's not reflected there. So let's say we do want to adjust this here. We can update this. Yep. And I can push it in. If you do that, you're just going to bill for the full month. We're not really taking into consideration a prorate at all. It's just going to bill for the entire month. But if I go, let's make it the 27th because that's where the change actually occurred, and sync that in. That's now being pushed across. I'll just pull the data back now. So the sync within the PSA does happen every single night, okay? Or you can force a sync at any given time. So it said there, hey, it's going to take you about a minute or so to then sync back. That's how long it took the last one. And then if we come back in here, and it's the legal help, okay, with the prorate that we want to look at. So prorate down here. And now you can see, right, on the 27th of June, a prorate occurred. On the 27th of June, a prorate occurred. It's perfect. It's spot on, right? So, and from a ability to set specific margin, you can set it at the vendor level and then override that line by line as needed and as required. And the cool thing is, right, if you've got the sync working with Pax8 and Autotask or ConnectWise and soon to be Halo, the cool thing is you can let that run, right? And it should, when we bring in the data on a monthly basis, we can just sanity check to see, did all the prorates work, search for prorates, see the ones, because they're often the ones that you sort of want to keep your finger on the pulse of. You can just very quickly see them in one place. With ConnectWise, the prorate function works slightly different, where we create a new temporary edition while updating the main edition. And the system's got all the smarts to work out and bring in, consolidate one revenue number against one cost number and all the rest of it. So the end outcome is extremely similar. So I hope that gives you a good insight into how the likes of how CloudOlive, working with MSPs that are buying from Pax8, can leverage us and sort of consolidate everything into one place. And so, like, really, they just give you an extremely granular set of eyes on a fairly complex problem, and just flesh out the information that you really sort of care about. And then you can naturally extrapolate that across over 180 vendors that we work with now. It's pretty much you get a data set. It doesn't matter what that data set looks like. We can bring in and leverage that data to make sure that what you are billing to your customers is exactly what you're looking to bill to your customers, while finding any of the billing risk that naturally occurs. So when these things go to zero, this whole thing drops away. Boom. You know that everything's bulletproof with the ability to pass on things, leave notes for yourself, because it's not real world to expect that everything's just going to balance every single time. So I hope that was of use. You're welcome to get in touch with us. My email is just adam@cloudolive.com. I'm one of the co-founders here. Many thanks and look forward to working with you soon.